Good evening. Welcome to the Studio City Neighborhood Council Outreach meeting for February 2nd, 2023. I'm calling this meeting to order at 7:03. That sounds good. It's about 7:03 and a half, but it's easier to put 7:03. Roll call. Me. Yes. Karen Sorrow has not yet arrived. Sherry Kessel. Unmute yourself, Sherry.
Here.
Okay. Terry Austin. Muted.
Here.
I'll blame it on the weather. Julie Houlihan.
Here.
Ira Gold, not yet present. Scott Mandel.
Present.
Okay. That is 4 out of 6. Scott does not count as for the quorum, so we do in fact have a quorum. We may continue. Item 2, the approval of the January meeting minutes. I sent the meeting minutes out late last week when I sent out the agenda. If there are any objections, please state them. If not, I will approve the meeting minutes without objection.
I'm objecting.
Okay, you're objecting. What would you like to talk about?
I mentioned right off the top of the meeting about minute number 7 or so in the last meeting, and then on agenda number 8 about something that I brought up at two other meetings, and that is that we do some sort of a flyer with the top issues in our community that people are concerned about and wanting to get something in front of the budget committee, that there might be money set aside for a mailer if it was, and then we talked about incorporating it perhaps with the upcoming neighborhood council elections as a way to promote people to want to be interested in, if you take part in the elections, here's some of the issues we deal with. And we had quite a discussion, but it wasn't reflected in the minutes. And there's a budget meeting next week. So I had wanted to make sure that these minutes got amended to mention that that was discussed twice in the last meeting and was brought up both times by me.
Let me find them here. It was the January 5th, 2023 minutes.
And my suggestion is that we either incorporate this into the election flyer or postcard or whatever it becomes, or that we do a separate one. But we've talked at many meetings.
Here we are right here. Can you see this, Terry?
Yes, I can.
Okay, well, what item was it again?
Well, I brought it up when we first started discussing possible announcements by, not representatives. We started out talking about the luminaria, and then we were talking about getting people to, because I went back and I watched it again, and then we were talking about how to get people involved. And I said I was going to bring this up at item 8, but perhaps this would be a better time. And then you said, no, bring it up at item 8. So I brought it up before we got to comments from, went back. I brought it up before we had comments from other representatives. And, in discussion 5, or number 5. And then I brought it up again in 8. Okay,
what would you like me to add?
That there was discussion on approaching the budget committee, making a motion to ask the budget committee to set aside a budget for flyers or postcard mailing that would highlight some of the most critical issues that our community constantly mentions. And the ones we talked about were homelessness and land use. And I'm trying to think what the third one was off the top of my head. I think crime. And the discussion was, should we incorporate this into the election flyer in a way to get people to want to be bothered joining the neighborhood council, saying, hey, are you worried about these things? And there could be a QR code that goes to those committees, join the neighborhood council and be heard, or some, because we had the discussion at a few meetings about how do we get people interested in joining the neighborhood council.
Okay.
So when I saw the flyers that were sent out, I thought, if the conversations that I've been a part of seems to be, how do we get people interested? So I think doing the same thing that we've done before and expecting a different outcome is probably, not the best approach, and maybe we should try something different. How do you get people to want to be part of the neighborhood council? Tell them what they're going to do, not just when it's happening.
Okay, so I changed this right here. Would this be okay?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm showing now, I think we have everyone on computer here. We're showing the outreach minutes for January 5th, 2022. The amended minutes here adds this discussion regarding budget committee, regarding postcard mailing that would highlight critical issues in community, homelessness, land use, crime. I can put etc. here because it's not just that. Should we incorporate this into the election flyer?
Yeah.
Are you all right with this, Terry?
I am. Thank you very much.
Okay. So based on the amended minutes, do we have any comments from the committee? Or I will send this out. Let me save this. And then I will send it out at the end of this meeting, the amended minutes. Is everyone okay with this? Okay. So what I'll do here, I will save that. Hold on, Go Puppet, I see your hand. And I will get on these. And at the end of the meeting, I'll put this off to the side. And Jen minutes.
Sorry for being late. I was on a work call.
Oh, hi, Ira. You
Oh,
arrived at 7:09.
No, you're not forgiven.
Okay. Got it. Okay, with that out of the way, we'll move on to agenda item 3, updates by the committee chair. There are a couple things I want to talk about. First things first, I'm glad Ira's here. Ren has not yet showed up. But an idea I floated yesterday to Government Affairs is that our next meeting will be March 2nd. If everyone must already know that beginning March 1st, we must have in-person meetings. We can go on and on about how the Department of Neighbor Empowerment kind of shuffled their feet on this, but that's not the forum for this right now. What I'd like to do, and email me and let me know if this is okay with all of you. Monday, February 22nd, and Sherry, I know Tuesday you do things. Tuesday, February 28th are open. There is nothing going on. Public safety would have been the week before, the last Thursday of the month. So those 2 days are wide open, and that's just getting under the March 1st. Basically, that's when the COVID protocol, the COVID whatchamacallits are jettisoned, and everybody has to meet in person again. I would like one more virtual meeting because I know everybody works and everybody has a lot to do. I've been very busy the past 3 months. I know Julie's been busy. We all have things to do. So this is important enough in terms of the election outreach, at least the candidate filing period, to get one more virtual meeting in before March 1st kind of destroys all virtual meetings. So think about it. Let me know what you think, and email me with either Monday or Tuesday if you want. If you're unavailable for both days, we'll have to work it out as it goes along. There's still some time. We can find some way to get this out. Also, a reminder that the Luminaria recap will be next week, Cultural Affairs. They're going to have an in-depth review regarding the Luminaria event. I thought it was successful. I thought we did very well. There was a nice turnout. Both Nithya Raman and President Paul Krikorian were there. And it was nice. I'd never been a part of a Luminaria before. And although I manned the rear gate most of the night, I didn't care. It was nice. I had a nice talk with George and Jeff from CD4 and CD2 and the representative from, I think, Catherine Barger's office. I had a nice conversation with him. But generally, it was a nice event. So that's, I think, next Tuesday, Scott? Is that Cultural Affairs next Tuesday or next? It's next Tuesday, right?
I'll have to look at the calendar.
Yeah. Well, it's on the calendar. It shows it. So
Oh, yeah.
That being said, we will dispose of 3. My mistake. Item 4, possible announcements by representatives. I don't see any representatives here today. So going once, going twice. We will dispose of that. We'll move on to 5. Discussion regarding election outreach 2023 candidate filing period only. Discussion regarding social media, website, and live events outreach at the beginning of the 2023 election cycle. Candidate filing periods begins February 22nd and ends April 8th. Overview of documentation provided by city clerk, samples of how other NCs are doing it, and presentation of several mock-ups and of possible SCNC sendouts. So let me share my screen here and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I already sent the committee members a couple. Terry mentioned it a little earlier. A couple of mock-ups I threw together. By no means are these the final thing. We can talk about them. We can add things. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. We are on this right here. I want to go through a few of the last SCNC promotions for the elections. This is the 2012 promotion right here. These are the things I found on Facebook and Twitter. Obviously, down the bottom left-hand corner, we have the banners. I don't know if we still have the banners. No clue. I'm hoping we do, though we don't really use the phone number anymore. We still have studiocitync.org. And it's not our logo anymore, but still it's cheaper than actually making brand new banners. And that's the cost. The city, if it goes to the city council, will put it up for you, but it takes a while, so I don't exactly know if we can get in it on time. Pretty simple. Top right-hand corner, the candidates are already there. That's maybe for the possible forums they were going to have. This is 2014. Same red and blue dealio. Again, pretty simple. The one on the right's kind of neat because it's all of Region 4. All of them are listed, which is kind of nice, but again, it's something they did. 2016 election, bottom right-hand corner, they actually had a banner, have a say. We can't really use it because it's the old logo and the old date. However, we can always, if we have it in our storage, we can find some way to make that work. And again, a red, white, and blue design. I could not find anything for 2019. There's nothing on Facebook, at least no JPEGs regarding the 2019 election. And on Twitter, there's only 2 posts for the beginning and the end of the filing period. Otherwise, on our social medias, it's as though the 2019 election didn't exist. I don't know what that was about, but there's nothing there to see. So we're going to move on to the 2021 election. And we all know this one. All of us who participated in the 2021 election and won our seats, we've saw this. It's the green, like it's that kind of like a teal and green with a white kind of design. And on the bottom, they do the red and blue. It's good. It got my attention. It allowed me to run for office. I kept it. Actually, I still have one right here. This is not mine. This is actually the one from the office. We'll get to that in a moment. And here's some samples from other NCs. Bel Air, West Adams, Park Mesa Heights, East Hollywood, Lake Balboa. The one on the bottom left-hand corner appears to be a template from Empower LA because a lot of other neighborhood councils are doing the same exact thing. Same thing with the top left-hand corner, Bel Air, Beverly Crest. You'll see them over and over again. The Valley Village and NoHo West are actually from 2021. I didn't see that at the time, but it's the same exact thing they have now. The Bel Air Beverly Crest is 2023, so they're just using the same templates over and over again. Sherman Oaks NC has a very similar template. Greater Toluca Lakes trying something a little different. I've always liked Venice NC. They're always a little clever about things, and I like theirs a lot because it catches the eye. The only problem I have with Venice NC is if you see it from a distance, you don't know it's an election banner or an election JPEG. It's blue and orange, and it can be anything. It could be an ad for something.
It has a typo.
Where?
Candidate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th row down. Oops.
Candidate. Okay, Venice has been caught. They're not the perfect NC. So there you go. I like the Silmar one. It's nice. I don't know about West Hills. They don't have skyscrapers the last I checked in West Hills, but it's what they did. More power to them. If they want skyscrapers at West Hills, It's their thing. So the next two are the mock-ups that I actually sent out for review. This is the first one. I want to do the red, white, and blue design because, like I said, it screams election. And say we're putting this up in, say, the library or at Ralph's or at a cafe or a restaurant. People walk by it, they see the color scheme and they think election, so maybe they stop for a moment and read it. Bottom part can change. Yes, I spelled information wrong. The general 2023 election information, and the bottom elections for more information. I don't know why I did that. It was a brain fart. I'm sorry. I fixed it on the originals. So regardless, it's going to go out with information. But the idea is the QR codes, the bottom left-hand corner, go directly to the LA City Clerk pages, City Clerk services elections. And the bottom one is the actual page for how to become a candidate. The top one, it's one more click when you get to the City Clerk page, but I just wanted to double up and just make absolutely sure, just in case they get lost on the City Clerk page. It's not hard. It's not easy to get lost. It's a very simple page, but we have our 2023 elections page at the bottom. I'll show you in a moment what Sonk did, our neighbors to the west. Basically, all the information comes from the city, and you just change what seats you have and so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. The second mock-up is a little slightly a different design, but still red, white, and blue, so it screams election. It's a little more stylish, maybe a little more vintage than this one right here. But again, the Studio City community needs you. Neighborhood council board members are elected city officials who actively shape the future of their community through leadership. I have that on both of these. And again, the copy can change. These are just mock-ups. And I have information spelled wrong again, but I didn't catch that until late, and I was very busy today, so I could not change that. But of course, the QR codes again lead directly to the City Clerk website. And down below, we have the 2023 elections page, which I can make over the course of the weekend. Scott and I can probably put that together super quick. I see hands up. Give me a moment before let me go through these. And this is a 2023 election timeline that is directly from the City Clerk. It just happens to be green, which is our color, but no, it's just from the City Clerk's office. Top left-hand corner, I have phase 1, February 22nd to April 15th. Right now, that's what we're promoting, the candidate filing period. Everything after April 15th doesn't exist yet. The idea is to get people interested in submitting their candidacy to file. What I'd prefer are these right here to be feeders to our website. Everything should funnel into our website to that page. And on that page, we can have PDFs directly from the City Clerk, how to be a candidate, this and that. They can download it, they can read it, they can get interested. A couple more things I want to show you is, before I take hands, let me see, where is it? Oh, hold on. Do I have this thing open right now? I do not. Oh, well, that's why I can't find it. Let me open it up. There we go. Oh, I can show you what I was just talking about a moment ago. Hold on, guys. I'm almost getting through this. This is the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. Let's just keep this quiet here. Order, I'm still speaking here. The Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. This is what they have currently. This is the 2023 Neighborhood Council elections. Obviously, we're not Sherman Oaks, we're Studio City, but the 10 seats in contention, obviously all 15 are in contention on our election cycle. We're just changing a few things, but generally, I believe this is some copy from the City Clerk. I will double check, but obviously this part will change because we're Walter Reed, we're not that. Yes, there's COVID protocol. I believe we're going to have to adhere to that as well. And this is their little mailer, the little graphic they took from, I believe, Empower LA. So this is what they have. And I can look at a couple of other Region 4 neighborhood councils and what they're doing, because we're all the same cycle. All of us have the election around the same time. I believe June 22nd. Let me see. Yeah, June 22nd. Region 4 is June 22nd. So I'll look at Valley Village, I'll look at Van Nuys, I'll look at a lot of others and see what they wrote. I'm pretty sure it's the same text, the same copy, so we'll just put that on there. Really simple, maybe some links to the PDFs. If not, we could put that on a couple of calendar postings. If we can't link the PDFs on this page, we can just link it on the calendar and send people to the calendar to download the PDFs. And so on and so forth. And let me show a couple of things here. One more thing, and I'll go to comments. Someone's having a fun time with the drink. Pink's printer. We use these printers. It's not the best printer. It's not. We're not saying they're the only printer in Studio City. We just happen to use them. So in getting the prices for possible mailers, Scott asked me to look into it. I didn't have a chance to check out other printers, but this is kind of the baseline because we use Pinks a lot. So this would be the baseline to judge all other printers by. Some might have better, more competitive prices. I don't know yet. But when we're looking at this, this would be basically for the flyers, just handouts over at Farmers Market or something like that. 500 of them, $131.53. I remember in November we passed, I think it was up to $400 for more outreach printing. I'm not sure if that's gone through City Clerk yet. I think it might have. I'll double check with Kim. But if it has, now we have little money. We can add that. We can use that. We can use that to take some of this outreach costs off of, because it's outreach material. The other thing we have here, this is postcards. Now I'm doing 5x7 here. The one that was sent out in 2021 is absolutely massive. I think it's 7x12. Let me really quickly measure this. I did not write this down. It is 12 by 6.5. My mistake. It's huge. And obviously a bigger postcard means it's more expensive. This is more of a 5x7 right here they did previously. And the price here for 5,000 of them is $220.23. It's nothing compared to this. This is sort of what 2021 did, the mailer. This is also Pink's, or I'm sorry, Pink printers. I keep calling it Pink's like the hot dog. No, it's Pink printers. This is about $8,334. This includes direct mail. And I don't think this includes the addresses. I think you have to supply that yourself. We'd probably go through USPS EDDM, everyday direct mail. Independent of this, I think they actually, the costs of EDDM includes postage and the routes that you would like to choose. I think they just go ahead and they run it through a printing process and print the address directly on it. I haven't had a chance to look at that right now, but this would be if we're going through Pink, and it's pretty pricey. And right now, the budget, the way we have it, we don't have the kind of budget we had in 2021. I'm not sure what kind of budget they had in 2021 because I wasn't part of the neighborhood council back then, nor was a member of any committee. But they did spend quite a bit, from what I understand, probably close to about $10,000 to $11,000 for the election cycle. Scott mentioned before the meeting, 330 ballots were returned. So it wasn't a great return on the money spent. So that being said, what I'm going to do now is I usually do a round table discussion, but because I have two public hands up, we'll go to the public first. We'll start with Goat Puppet. Goat Puppet, you have a minute. Actually, I'll give you 90 seconds. Go right ahead.
Ow! Wake up, dummy. Ow! Putting me to sleep. Ow. goddamn filibuster. Yes. So, we want to waste more money on outreach. Everybody that's going to apply knows what the requirements are to serve on this board. First, you have to have a very high opinion of yourself. That's good. Secondly, you have to have free time. And third, and most importantly, generally speaking, you have to be a loser. After all, I mean, you have to go to all these meetings and all of this work. And how much are you being compensated for your time? Zero. You're paying to serve on a board because your time and your labor is worth money. Isn't that what that 13th Amendment shit was about? Hey, that's right. Yes, we banned slavery and indentured servitude, which is what Dunn is doing. They're not paying you for your work, but that's okay because people like Brandon, as long as they can call themselves vice president or some other title, it makes them feel like
15
little-
seconds.
a little tiny version of Kamala Harris. Yes, it makes Brandon feel important. It makes him somebody. So he's more than worthy to be.
5 seconds.
All right. As Scott has other better things to do.
Your time is up. Please
Hanging
conclude
around
your
for fun.
Goat Puppet. Your time is up. Please conclude
Trying
your
to
comments.
keep Brandon out of jail. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, you're muted.
He's-
Thank you very much, Goat. Barry Johnson, go right ahead.
Scott's his only hope. I
So
know.
you mentioned, writing some copy for this, that's in flow. I think before.
Hold on, really quick. Copy for the website. I'm just wanting a clarification on this.
For everything that you've shown, both the website and the postcard, before you get to deadlines or requirements or anything else, at the very top, it's got to say how much time is required. You're required to be at a monthly board meeting for, say, 4 hours every month. You're required to serve on monthly, at least one or more monthly committee meetings, and you're expected to be at other events that the neighborhood council hosts. And if you cannot do these three things, do not run. I mean, I'm being blunt. You can say it politely, but that has to be understood by candidates, and it was not understood for a lot of people that ran last time. And I think you also need to say politely, but essentially, you're not going to have the convenience of sitting on your couch at a Zoom meeting. You'll have to attend these meetings and events in person. And that's got to be the number one thing on the top of everything that goes out right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm writing this down because I am the chair and the secretary. Okay. Anybody else from the public who'd like to weigh in on this? Actually, you know what? Raise your hand anytime you want. If you want to raise your hand to speak again, you may, but let me go through people who have not spoken just yet. Julie, your hand was up a moment ago. Did you want to say something? You're muted. No? Oh, no? Okay. Ira, go ahead. Oh, sorry. That's right.
There we go.
That's right. Sorry about that. Julie, I'll get back to you in a moment. Go right ahead, Ira.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon. Thanks for doing all that. There's a lot of production to put all that stuff up. So of the two templates that you made, I kind of like the second one because I could see elections. I don't think elections was written on the first one. The only thing I would say, I actually walked away from my computer to kind of see from a couple feet away. I like the font on the first one. I know it's like a cursive font on the second one, but I could barely see that when I walked away. But I like the second one because I could see elections, and that to me was important. I'd also say I think the less we put on them, the better. I think maybe if we have via those QR codes, we can have all the things maybe that was suggested on the actual website. But the less we have on the actual flyer, the better. I think the more attention they'll get. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know, hold on. Oh, sorry. Where'd you guys go? There you are. Go right ahead. Julie, you can unmute now. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I also want to compliment you on your flyers. I think they look really nice.
Mhm.
And I like the second one. The style is really great, but I like the apply, run, lead thing. That's kind of cool too. Anyway, thank you for doing that. And I think they look terrific. I agree with Ira that, the time commitment stuff, I don't think it should be on this flyer, but I do think it should be in the fine print. I think there was something in the fine print when I ran about 10 hours a month or something like that, which I don't think is perhaps adequate. It depends on how many committees you're on, but I think it's a little hardcore to put that on the flyer. I think if somebody's interested, they're going to go to the QR code and they're going to read the full thing. But I think it looks great.
Thank you. All right. I will go back to Goat Puppet, and then I'll go to Terry, then Scott. Go right ahead, Goat Puppet.
Yes, and I'll note, did you see what he did, Scott? Now what did he do? Brandon muted me and was not allowing me to control my own hub. What type of break of trust is this? And of course, on the flyer, it should be put the disclosures of your new slavery when you get put on this board. The 10 hours of uncompensated waste of time that you're going to have to be doing. Look at some of the people we've had. Look at the burnout. And of course, then we have people, for example, like Lisa Karjakian, that was more than willing to serve, but she became too big of a tyrant and had to leave. So also on the flyer, put down no tyrants allowed. Otherwise, they will meet the horned one and they will be corrected in their behavior. What about food? Oh, but you are going to give free food out starting in March. And we always cater to Ventura Boulevard restaurants, quoting the great T. Walker, who began the tradition, didn't he? Remember, Scott, when T. Walker catered filet mignon? And he gave it to us, me and my friend. And then what did we do? Well, we took our 2 minutes of general and left. Yes, with a doggy bag of $100 worth of food. Yes, we need to go back to that kind of thinking.
Okay.
And finally, I want to be able to park in front of the building and not in that garage being forced to walk like some dissident. Bring back preferential parking for puppets like we used to, like T. Walker used to. But he hates you. Yes, but T. Walker in his mind hates a puppet, and a puppet can't be hated because puppets aren't people, are they? Wow, that's right. I'm playing with your mind at all times. Corruption? No.
Goat Puppet.
Voluntary service? Yes, we always encourage it.
Thank you very much, Goat Puppet. Thank you very much. Terry, go right ahead. You can unmute yourself now.
Thank you. Yeah, and I echo Julie's comment and Ira's for giving us all those examples, Brandon. That's really great. And my only comment with the copy, the design of it is fine with me. I always think less is more. And the only thing is I'm not looking at it right this second, so I can't.
You want me to screen share it for you?
Yeah, would you mind?
Yeah,
My
sure.
only thing is that in the copy, the only thing I would change is make it a little less verbiage and to point out you can run, as opposed, because it says there's a sentence there that says neighborhood council are government entities or something like that. And I think that somebody might read that like they're supposed to vote for somebody else who is this government
Okay,
person.
let me
not them.
share my screen here, and we'll go back to these right here.
Yeah, where it says, neighborhood council board members are elected city officials who actively shape the future of the communities. And just the way that's worded, it looked to me, my first impulse reading it was that it's somebody else, it's not me. And it says Studio City needs you, but is it to vote for those people or is it to
Got
run?
it.
So it says apply, run, lead, but I just don't know if it's clear enough that we're asking people, need you to run, need you to, that's my only thing. But the design of it is great. I think the QR codes are a good idea. And like Julie and Iris said, other information like the stuff I mentioned can also be when people are, you're right, if they're interested enough to investigate further about the neighborhood council, then they'll be interested in other information. So it could be elsewhere.
Thing on this one right here, I should make Studio City Neighborhood Council in a larger font and then continue board members or elected city officials. So make it really stand out, or maybe make it a slightly different color. Maybe move it a little. I was getting a little fancy, where the Y is. I was getting a little graphic-y and a little artsy. But I can make the apply, run, lead smaller and make that the same size as Studio City Neighborhood Council board members or elected city officials. I can do that. Okay. And Scott, go right ahead.
Well, thank you. And yes, I second all the other previous comments about the work to make those flyers. I'm not going to comment on the design. That's not my thing. The thing I will ask, I know there's no motion for it, but for our budgeting purposes, because it's February, we still have a few months to exist. It would be a good idea to get a straw poll, find out if the board or this committee and the budget committee are all in agreement as to whether we should send out mailers or not, because that is the budget buster. And if we're going to do mailers, we're going to be well over $10,000 for all our expenses. And if we don't do mailers and we pass out postcards and flyers, we have room to sort of entertain another neighborhood purpose grant. And we have our 2 movies, and we have expenses for going to in person and getting our meetings recorded. So,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone already knows how I feel about the postcards being mailed. I know it did attract some candidates and some people, but for the price, it was almost worthless. I'm not saying the people who saw the postcard and decided to run and win, it's not worthless that you're on the board, don't get me wrong. But with $11,000, we had 375 return ballots, and that's $29 per return ballot. But if we had 45 candidates, then assuming each of them at least voted once, that takes it down to $33 a ballot. And then if each person got 8 people to vote, I mean, the numbers just go exponentially larger and larger and larger until we're spending $50, $60 for a return ballot. So it really cost a lot of money based on what we got in return. Also, I have an also. I'll hold that thought for the also and hear from everyone else, and I'll come back.
Okay. Goat Pup is just waving his hoof. So go right ahead, Goat. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, I like those numbers. $33 a vote. Well, that's actually not bad. No, not really. How about we set up, I have this guy named Mr. Santos he was talking to. Maybe we could set up like a nonprofit to help fund this election. And maybe candidates, well, there's no prohibition on raising money. That's what you need, money, right? Money. And that's the problem, isn't it? How come the Department of Neighborhood Stupidity is not giving you a separate budget for this? Why are they making you pay to do your own election? Joe Biden didn't have to pay to buy his own election, and it cost over $1 billion. No, he had George Soros to do that. Yes. But then how did Donald Trump buy his election? Oh, the Russians. Oh, I see. Yes. So it's either Russia or it's George Soros or China. Now, where are we going to get it? See, that's the problem, is the money, isn't it? We have to find ways to maximize the ability. But remember, always put the small print down about your 10, 12 hours a week. And in large letters, put down, you can become an official government official of the city of Los Angeles. And people will go, oh, I could become a powerful person. That's why they want to apply here. That's why. Until, of course, they meet me. And then they learn you've been duped. Yes.
Wrap it
But
up, Goat.
we want to get people in, right? See, I'm like the devil. I want to get you in. And then once I get you in, we keep you in.
All
Like
right.
Jose
10
Weezer.
more seconds,
We're going
Goat.
to keep him in. We're going to keep Jose Weezer in for about 13 and a half years. Yes, he sure liked those chips on those chicks, didn't he? I'm so glad that somebody introduced him to that lifestyle. Temptation.
All right, Goat, your time is up.
Temptation.
Please finish up your comment.
I don't know. Are you the devil? No. Just because I have a pair of horns doesn't mean I'm bad.
Please finish up your comment, Goat.
That's right. Just because Brandon has a beard doesn't mean he's a derelict. Well, that's a good point. Yes. Don't judge people by the way they look.
Thank you, Goat.
Judge them by the amount they steal.
Thank you very much.
See?
Oh. Okay,
Oh.
hold on, Goat. Your time
I
is
have
up.
my
Your
power
time is
back.
up, Goat. Your time is up. Let me speak.
Yes,
Okay,
I have my power.
Hold on. I let everyone speak. Scott, I'll let you speak in a moment. Let me just get on some of these topics that people have been discussing. First off, Barry, I know what you're talking about regarding time commitments, considering this past board. Some people, I would say maybe less than half of the board has been doing most of the work. And thank goodness for Terry and stakeholders who have come in and helped us, especially at Farmers Market, with her go-getter attitude. It's really helpful. We just, like I've said before, we just stand there like bumps on a log. I just dated myself by saying that, sorry. And she goes out there and, excuse me, have you heard of, like, how does she do this? But thank you very much. Julia's been great. Ira's been great. Barry, of course, is everywhere all at once. I think there's maybe 10 different Barry Johnsons and he's not telling us this. But in terms of time commitments, we have to be very careful. This is just my opinion about printing anything about you must do this, you must go here, you must go here, because eventually somebody can look at that and say, you're trying to dissuade people from running. We might be able to put that on our website, because what I want these things to do, any kind of JPEG, right now, these are JPEGs. These are going onto our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I guess Nextdoor, if somebody wants to do Nextdoor. It's a funnel to our website, to our 2023 election page. And on that page, it could say, yes, this does, there is a commitment of time. You'll have to meet in person at Radford Studios, in the Radford Studio Center. You have to be on at least one committee. You have to have at least 10 hours, I believe, a year of outreach service. Everything that's in our bylaws and operating procedures, basically. But if we put it on material that is either on our social media or printed material, somebody might be able to file a grievance against us and saying, well, they're just trying to prevent people they're scaring people away. So that's the one thing I really, I mean, again, this is one of those things we may have to talk to the city clerk about and see what other neighborhood councils are doing. But I don't want to put anything on that, any kind of printed material where we've already spent the money to have somebody come back and say, you have to remove that. Suddenly we spent $500 on something, we have to throw them all out and start all over again. We simply don't have the money for that right now. So keeping that stuff off the printed material, but having I see your name, Barry. I understand it, but getting people to the website to a page that we can change just like that if somebody has a problem with it, as opposed to printing it on something that will be a waste. We're literally gonna have to throw away 500 postcards if we do something on there that one member, one stakeholder has an issue with. So in terms of time commitments and stuff like that, just like an FAQ, we can have a bunch of frequently asked questions. How much time? And do we get paid? No, this is a voluntary position. How much time are we going to have? Usually we have our meetings at night after people have returned for work. We could do stuff like that the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council has not put on their page. So we can do stuff like that. And I can write that down really quick on our 20.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Brandon.
You just called me Barry Johnson. Yeah, just a frequently asked questions page where it's not so in your face, but like if somebody's going to run, they'll want to know how much time. I barely have time for this, for outreach. I've been so busy for the past 3 months. It's like, okay, let's put I put together the mock-ups this morning because I just have not had enough time this week to do it. But yeah, it is a time commitment. It really is. And it does lend itself to the older set individuals who do have more time on their hands. But you know what? People who really want change in the community, people who really look around them and say, I want to do something. I want to get involved. This needs to be fixed and this needs to be corrected. And why is this the way it is? Those are the individuals we want as part of this neighborhood council, people who are civic minded, people who want to go out there and say, yeah, I want to have a say in this. This is ridiculous. Why is this like this? Why is Sportsman's Lodge? Why doesn't it have that? Why do the trucks have to back in? This is the kind of stuff of course we can't talk about Sportsman's and we can't talk about any businesses during this election cycle, but we can make general references to things that people see every single day, like what Barry was talking about yesterday with the palm trees not being trimmed, the palm fronds falling down and damaging cars or hitting pedestrians. Somebody's walking around, they see this, how do I get this fixed? Well, neighborhood councils have a direct connection to CD2 and CD4. We can make phone calls and make it happen. You want to be a part of that? You want to get involved and help things out? It would be a great thing to do. Run for council. Let's see. I'll put elections on the first one and see how that works out. The FAQ page. Any other things? Let me see. How much time is required? Yes. Okay. We'll go back to comments and we'll start with Scott. Go right ahead.
So I was going to say, I agree. It's a good idea to use our printed materials to lure people to at least to get to the website. Once they're there, we can then warn them about the time commitments, ethics training, code of conduct, the hours that we're supposed to put in for outside activities, 10 hours a year, committees, events, ethics bylaws, that we have officers, that the work is done in committees. Basically, based on some of the candidates from the last election, a lot of people had never even seen an SCNC meeting, and they were clueless about what they were getting into. So I agree with Barry's point that these people have to realize this isn't just to get something on their resume. And I mean, we have current board members that don't participate. So we certainly don't need a batch of new ones that are going to do the bare minimum. I'd like to change our bylaws and exclude bylaws and operating procedures and budget from the list of committees, because people actually join those because those committees only meet very infrequently to satisfy their one committee. So we don't want to, dissuade them from coming to the web. Once they're at the website, link to everything, how the committees work, what community impact statements are, watch a board meeting. We'll have to carefully select a meeting where we're all well behaved and say,
Really?
watch
Us?
this meeting as an example
Not us.
of what your SCNC can do for the community. And I mean, that's going to be the hardest job. I don't know who wants to do that. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of
Be
not.
real, Scott.
And as far as Nextdoor, I've been posting our stuff on Nextdoor. So
Okay,
I have
good.
no problem. I'll just continue with that, which is good because it keeps me out of Nextdoor jail. I sort of temper my comments so I don't get put in Nextdoor jail, so I can post more often. So anyway,
Very well. Ira, you haven't spoken in a while. Go ahead, then I'll go back to Puppet.
Cool, thank you. Have we, I don't know if this is feasible or not, but there are people who are called farm walkers. They go out and they hand deliver pieces.
The Walking Man. Is that what
Oh,
you're
it's a-
talking about?
If that's the name of a company, I've never heard of it, but yeah, something like that. We use them in real estate. I mean, I guess the trick would be, because we're a government entity, we have to hire someone who's got insurance and licensed, or I don't know how that, at least insurance, there's no licensing for that. But and who knows, you can't, the only challenge is properties that have gates. You can put it on a gate, but you can't put it on any
Signs,
mailbox.
hosts, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no mailboxes because that's federal. But I don't know how much it is now, but it used to be like 25 cents per or 10 cents per, which probably a lot more now, but that might be a lot less expensive. If that's the case, I'd be down for postcards. Otherwise,
Really quickly, I've got the massive folder here from the
Yep.
2021 elections. It looked like they did quote Walking Man. It appears that they were going to use Walking Man for businesses, that they were going to go EDDM for residents, and for the businesses they were going to employ Walking Man to go to the cafes and restaurants and such. I don't know if the USPS EDDM does that. I think they are only residential areas. So there is a quote in here from Walking Man regarding that. So just to let you know, I know you haven't seen this file yet. This is the mystery file. It was been sitting in the office since 2021. And I'll return it to the office for the ad hoc election committee to sift through. It's quite interesting, to be honest with you.
but Brandon, otherwise, I'm not a big proponent of all that paper and all those things being sent out. I think that's a waste of money, but it probably is the most effective way of getting the word out because it's going to hit everyone's door and everyone's mailbox. But I do think it's an incredible. It's really a lot of money. Would it be less expensive to hit Instagram, Facebook, to have a marketing company hit Instagram, Facebook, YouTube for our area? I don't know.
Well, it's one thing, just really quick, and I'll go back to Puppet. I think the one here, which was for Universal Print, where they didn't include EDDM, it looked like it was 25,000, but I don't know how many households we have in studio. I know we have close to 33,000 residents, but I don't know about the households. You can't exclude one household. I would assume that if one route is not sent mailers, anybody on that route would say, hey, what about us? Why'd you exclude us? So I don't know. I assume it's tricky. I might be overthinking it. I tend to do that quite a bit. But if I was a house that I lived over there and wherever, and 18,000 households, thank you, Barry Johnson. Again, Barry Johnson comes through with a Jeopardy question. 18,000 households. So I don't know why they did 25,000. That might have been for now that's households. So does that include apartments, or is that residential dwellings, or are those actual homes? I'm guessing it's 33,000 people and 18,000 residences. Okay, so 20,000 would touch everybody.
Yeah, it's just residential.
Okay. Doors to knock on. Okay. But again, if you leave out one person, then they can make a claim like, oh, this neighborhood council excluded me. Why? So again,
And Walking Man generally has always told us they don't do hillsides, and if we ask them to do it, I think they charge more.
Okay, that's why they did that. That's why they had Walking Man with along Ventura Boulevard and maybe north of Ventura Boulevard. Okay, thank you. I wondered why that invoice was just there were so few postcards attached to that invoice. Well, it's better exercise if you're doing hillsides. Um, I'm gonna go to Goat and then I'm gonna go to Julie. Goat, go right ahead. I'm sorry, Goat Puppet. My mistake. Go right ahead, sir.
How about buying a billboard on Ventura Boulevard? Damn, that's a good idea. Yes, but it has to be provocative to get people's attention. Yes, as you know, we can definitely get a lot of interest in this race. But you have to have the billboard and it has to link to a YouTube. Some of our greatest hits out here, we've had some good ones, like the Randall Freed controversy, known as fried chicken and his little meltdown.
But on topic,
The-
please, Goat.
Yes, but we want people to come here and continue the tradition of all of the yelling and screaming and antics. It's the drama. But remember, you are offering interest into the CBS studio backlot for all these wannabes. That alone is a big attraction, isn't it? Hey, it is. Yes, you could put a billboard right there in Radford and say, come, be a part of the studio crowd. Join the SCNC. Wow, that's right. They'll be thinking that they might get a part on a TV series or something. Yes, but in reality, we're just bringing them in. Yes, we bring them in, and once we get them in, we keep them. Or they do what Randall Fried Chicken does and fly to foreign countries. Yes, that's a good point. And yes, and we want to make sure that all board members pick up the slack, like the other night. But remember, Scott, I won a bet.
15
I
seconds.
told you Brandon was watching that meeting last night, and he proved it by letting us know about that little detail about palm trees. God, what else I owe you? A $50 gift card, of course. That's right. Be careful, Scott.
All right,
Brandon's
time
a
is up.
snitch.
Please
I
conclude
told
your comment.
Be careful about him. He's a snitch. I always know one. Yes, I've met a lot of them at City Hall over the years. Like
Okay,
who?
thank you very much,
You
Goat.
know. I was undercover.
All right, Julie, go right ahead.
Thank you. I guess my question would be if we don't do the postcards, which I still have to say, I understand Scott's point about the return. I'm still kind of a fan of it because we do hit a lot of people. And I think you can't stress out about one person if you've made the effort to, and they get missed. You can say, listen, we did our best and we got 17,999. We did our best. I do think there's a cheaper way to do it. And with the QR codes and the websites and everything we have, we really just need the most basic information on that postcard. So Barry keeps signing that we have the money. So I'm not really sure, what the argument is. If it's just, we feel it's a waste of money, but we have the money. I think there's a part, philosophically, I think we have an obligation to reach a lot of people, whether they respond or not. But I'm also curious, what are the other options? Like, what is the option of a billboard? I'm assuming a billboard's too expensive, and how do you get it up that quickly and the design of it all? That sounds expensive to me.
Let me add to that. You just asked a question, and I didn't actually. Thank you, Goat Puppet, for reminding me about this because other neighborhood councils have been told this by, I believe, the city clerk. Bus rest stops. We have that option. We can actually advertise on a bus rest stop. All we need is the printing of the material, and they'll install it for free.
Where do we
Oh.
have bus
Oh,
rest
boy.
stops?
I don't know. It was mentioned. I have to go back and find out what's going on. Maybe I'll contact Jocelyn Alvarado, I think that's her name, and find out. But we do have that option, and it could be there for a while. So we can't put dates there like run for election, or just go to the Studio City studiocitync.org website, blah blah blah, and then they go to the website, and the website can change information. It'll just be a link to our website, and then we can keep it on the bus rest stop for as long as it takes until, I don't know.
I personally would rather send a postcard than that, just
Yeah.
in terms of like what I would look at. I don't really look at a lot of bus stop advertising. I feel like that's like where you see lawyers and
Real estate agents, things like that.
real estate agents, things like that. I love the banner idea, but I don't know if we have time. I think those are up high, and I do think people look at those. There's a visibility with those that I think is good and
It would take a city
positive, but-
council. It would take a city council vote to waive the installation fees, and we
so
don't
no
know.
time for that.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, yeah, there's just not a lot of options where you can reach out to that many people. I mean, social media, yes, a lot of people are on social media, but are they seeing our social media? I mean, we can say we tried when we put it out there and we put it on all the platforms that we can think of that have been mentioned. I think that's valid. I'm not saying it's not valid. But I just think some people either aren't on social media or they're not seeing our social media. So I'm still a fan of like the cheapest way we could do
Let me
a mailer.
Let me really quick, Terry, I'll get to you in a moment. I know Peter just jumped on, so let me go back, and I'll actually double back to what you just said, Julie. Let me show you these again. Like these two right here were basically the mock-ups I sent to all the committee members. We were making some changes on there. I didn't put election here, and I didn't put Studio City on here. And I'm going to change the font on this one because it's hard to read the script. It looks nice, but it's hard to read from a distance. Which is going back to what Julie said. These would be just regular 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And we can go right up and down Ventura Boulevard and say, can you please post this in your door or on your window? It's a QR code. People can look at it. They can take a picture of it. They can scan the QR code. I have little neighborhood council elections bug on the bottom because everyone seems to be doing that. I don't know if that's a requirement or not. I don't think it is. But I guess it makes it look more official. But we can put our own QR code on here to take them directly to the studiocitync.org website, where all the relevant information would be. And we can go around and we could put these on as many storefronts as possible. And people are buying groceries, they're eating their hamburger, they see this, and it gets them curious. So yeah, we can totally do that. I will go to Terry, then I'll go to Peter. Go ahead, Terry.
Thank you. Do I understand that, Scott, that you were saying that it's an either or situation, that either we could spend $11,000 on mailed postcards or we can have movies in the park? Do I understand that?
No, I was saying, first of all, we may not even have the money to go to $11,000.
I think Kim said 8,000 as she's budgeting currently.
The 8,000 is obviously not going to be enough if we're going to use the US mail or even Walking Man to distribute 20 or 25,000 pieces to the, I mean, we have a budget meeting coming up on Monday. We have a lot of new expenses that we're going to be incurring with the in-person meetings, and we need to, I mean, we don't want to carry over a lot of money, but we're going to have a little bit to carry over to the next, I mean, we have our monthly, I mean, things went up. We pay for our Gmail now, and we have our web corner, and we have, I mean, you'll see after the Monday, without actually getting people to vote, a lot of people have expressed either support or opposition for spending money on a mailer. It would be good just to get the temperature of the room as everyone makes their comments. If they say, if they think mailing postcards is a good amount. Remember, if we're mailing them out to get people to run, there's going to be a big gap between getting people to vote. So then there's going to be the effort. is going to be to get people to run for office. What happens then when it's time to vote by mail or vote in person, whichever they choose, and get your ballot? We're not going to have we're not going to do a second mailer.
Yeah.
And the the vote, the candidate starts later this month. So we want to get something out fairly quick, but the applications for voting are after that. So we're essentially going to be doing the mailer solely to get people to run. So like I said, the last election, we had 45 people running. About, I don't know, 20 of them already knew about the Studio City Neighborhood Council and already knew there was an election. So I don't know how many new people that the 11 or 12 grand got to run. I'm not saying zero, but again, bang for the buck. Like I said before, if each candidate got 8 people to vote, then there was no outreach whatsoever to get people to vote. That was the threshold to get the 375 return ballots, 8 votes per candidate. I know I personally got more than 8 people to vote. So I think the candidates themselves are also going to be doing quite a bit of outreach. But again, I mean, I think you pretty much get the idea. I think it's very expensive. And because we've had a lot of events this year and expensive events, including Luminaria, we're not flush with cash. So come to the budget meeting on Monday and you'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Really quickly before I go to Peter, it's one of the reasons I like the 8.5 by 11 flyers printed out just on a regular piece of paper. Glossy, I think that the quote was for like a glossy print to give it a nice little bit of quality. But farmers market a couple of times before the election, going to storefronts, hitting social media. We're not the only neighborhood council that doesn't get a lot of hits on our social media. A lot of other neighborhood councils get low hits too. It's not a popular thing, but we can reach out to Sherman Oaks, Studio City, and Encino News. We can reach out to the SCRA. I think in 2021 they did put it in the newsletter. We could do a lot of different things that don't cost too much money, but get the word out. Peter, go right ahead.
I just coming back from dinner and I just saw you put up that flyer. Is that all? Are there other versions of that?
Oh, here, let me show it to you again.
Well, I don't need to see it again,
Oh,
but
okay.
I can tell you from my media experience, nah, that doesn't pass the 5-second test. I don't even know what that's for.
Okay.
So I would just, as they say in goat vernacular, shit can that one. And I really think you need to come up with something better than that. And quite honestly, there's no axe to grind here, but Brandon, you're not the one who should be doing this because you've disparaged stakeholders. You drive people away. I don't think you've figured out yet how to attract stakeholders into the fold. So there's got to be some other brain trust on the neighborhood council that can come up with a creative flyer. I know I could certainly sit down with a few people and a glass of wine and come up with something that would catch somebody's eye. So maybe we should see if anybody else on the board or volunteers want to do that. But that's not working for me, what you did. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. I will go back to Goat Puppet. Goat Puppet, go right ahead.
Yes, and I have in my archives. Yes, and Scott was reading the one before. This is one that the Encino Neighborhood Council did. See? Cheap, no color, no back page. This is the pretty one. Yes, this is the one Tarzana did. Look at this. Yum, 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 yum. Wow. Show them the back. Yes, look at that. It has that city emblem. And of course, when you receive mail with the city emblem, it gets your attention, doesn't it? You know why? Oh, because you think maybe it's a ticket or a fine. That's right, yes. See, when people see that badge there, and they're getting that in the mail, it tends to get people's attention. They're like, oh no, what did I do wrong? Oh no, did my neighbor call 311 and report me for my 9-foot illegal fence? But you can see the difference, yeah. Now, which one would you want? That ugly looking Encino thing, written and produced by retarded people, or that professional looking thing by Leonard Schaefer? And of course, Leonard Schaefer doesn't even know what country he's in anymore, so he delegated it to the professional community. And maybe you could ask him how he did it. That's why I keep
15
things
seconds,
like-
Goat Puppet.
See, you're lucky that I keep these things. I keep lots of things like that in the secret drawer. Yes. Well, thank you for that. That's right. But I think that Peter's got a point. Maybe the professionals could get involved and make this look really nice. Or you could be like the people in Encino and come up with that ugly looking garb that they voted on. They didn't listen to me, and that's why it looked like that. What about Tarzana?
Finish up your comment, Goat.
Oh, Tarzana listens to me all the time. And that's why theirs came out like it did.
Thank you very much, Goat. Julie, go right ahead.
Okay, with regard to the budget, I would defer to the budget committee in terms of what they think we have to spend. You know, it doesn't change my feelings about it, but if we don't have the money, we don't have the money. And I do think that Scott has a great point about spending a lot of money to get candidates, but spending nothing to get people to vote. That's a very good point. It also made me think, I'm looking at the flyers here, I don't, from my email. It kind of made me think that, or realize that the election date is not on the flyer. And I wondered if it should be somehow.
These flyers are specifically for the candidate filing period.
Yeah.
Ad hoc will take over when the filing period's over, because I'm a board member and I cannot be a part of the ad hoc committee. It's against our operating procedures. It's illegal. So the ad hoc committee must be only stakeholders. And from what I understand, I know 2021 there were board members, but it doesn't appear they did anything right. And so we have to adhere to our operating procedures. And I think we can send out early stuff like candidate filing, stuff like that. But once we get closer to the end of the candidate filing period and the candidates are determined, then in terms of like, meet the candidates, things like that, it would be a hard sell to have an actual board member running that, which is why it's only stakeholders according to our operating procedures. Did
I
that
think
answer?
maybe you misunderstood me. I'm just saying, put the election date. Filing
Oh,
period, February 22nd to
Yeah.
April 3rd, elections,
June
June
22nd.
or
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah.
is. Just so they know, because it feels like, well, when is it all happening? This is when I file. Just a simple elections this date. And then just a suggestion, I don't care if you take it either way, but since you have the 2 QR codes, which are in detail, which I appreciate, but maybe one of those turns into the QR code for the Studio City website where they can go to those
Yes.
FAQs and some of that makes it more like personal. I sort of would like that idea.
Got it. Good point. Peter, go right ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna agree with Goat Puppet. He's right. So I'd be happy, to get together with the people that are not afraid to go against Dunn's wishes and come up with something creative. But anyway, I think that was a great idea. Put the city seal on there, and I'll get your attention.
Thank you.
Oh boy, yes.
All right, first off, with the city seal, we had, from what I understand, you need to go through the city clerk to get the seal approved to be used on something. We tried that before and it was kind of
Then make something that kind of looks like that. Just
Okay.
figure out how to go around the idiots that are trying to destroy the neighborhood council. You know that. I tried to tell you this from day one, and all you do is worry about Dunn and points of order and all that. It's about the community. It's about serving the community. So they say, fuck Dunn, fuck all those people, and do what's right for the community.
Okay.
It's not that hard, Brandon.
All right. We'll go to Scott Mandel. Go right ahead.
And another bit of gloom and doom, there is the possibility that we may not have an ad hoc election committee because they're going to be required to meet in person and hold publicly noticed meetings. We can't do like what we did in 2021 and have board members meeting with stakeholders in secret and doing all this election stuff out of the public eye, which would then default all the election work to the outreach committee, because we would not have an ad hoc that would be doing that. That being said, we also have to think about putting on candidate forums. Last time we had 3 because there were 45 candidates. Those candidate forums are not going to, unless the Brown Act changes, they're not going to be on Zoom. And we're going to have to hire a video tech company to record those. And there'll be multiple cameras and multiple microphones. Then we're going to have to post that on YouTube so the people who didn't come in person can see who's running. Otherwise, it would be pointless to have a candidate forum because we're going to get 10 people who come to the Radford lot to see it.
Would a candidate forum be a Brown Act? It's not an official meeting. Would it still be under Brown Act?
Well, it
Candidate forum?
should certainly be something that's publicly noticed and attended. I mean,
Okay, I suppose then.
it's something that's being put on by the neighborhood council. The board's going to be there. I would imagine it would be. I don't know the direct answer to that, but if we don't publicize and notice and record a candidate forum, I would vote against having one altogether. That would be a complete and total waste of time for the candidates and for all of us. It's a lot of work to put those on and go through the questions and moderate it. And I have a feeling that participation, we're going to need poll workers. So our participation is at an all-time low, and we may not even be able to muster the force to run a proper election. Again, I don't mean to bring the gloom and doom, but these are things we have to prepare for. Thanks.
Okay. Julie and then Goat Puppet. Julie, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just forgot to lower my hand earlier.
Okay. Oh, this is Goat Puppet's night. Go right ahead, Goat.
Yes, I always like the doom and gloom stories, yes. And you see the hard reality, don't you? Bus bitch ads. But I think the secret is that city seal. How did that old fool that's a member of the bonk, the chairman of the Tarzana, Leonard Schieffer, get the right to put that on there? Yes. Well, you'll have to go and ask him, won't you? Well, you can ask him. But you see, they've been canceling all of their bonk board meetings. Every time I click it on, it's always canceled. Why is the bonk canceling every meeting? Because they screwed something up. That is correct, yes. Especially when everybody finds out March 1st. Surprise! You have to go into public meetings again, and we don't have an answer how to do it. You figure it out, our unpaid volunteers, you. This is going to be tough to pull this election off. Maybe we should hire a company to run the election. Wow. Let's spend the whole $43,000 on this election. Then we'll have the LA Times run an article. SCNC has to spend an entire budget because the city attorney, Heidi Feinstein Dum Dum, and Bonk wouldn't help these unpaid volunteers to run a simple election in compliance with the Voting Rights Act. Yes, I think we can make an example out of this, don't you? Yes. Now I will turn it over to Mr. Cole, and you'll yield the time. I will yield the floor by reserving my time. I learned that on C-SPAN.
Thank you, Goat. Peter, go right ahead.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, this is kind of sad, but this is kind of what, you reap what you sow, Brandon. This is, you chase people away. The guy that used to record you can laugh all you want. You're good at that.
I am laughing. It's funny. Go ahead.
I actually, I could do a video of you disparaging stakeholders as an outreach tool. This is not what to do. Come do the right thing, unlike what Brandy did. And I get people coming. But man, I don't know. Look in the mirror. You
Peter, if
flushed
you
it
want
down the-
outreach, I'll resign right now from the outreach committee and you can be chair. All you have to do is ask Scott.
Well,
I'll do it right now.
I don't
You
want
can
to
ask Scott if you want outreach, and I will step down from outreach, and you could be outreach chair.
Well, I
You wanna
would
do that?
I would suggest a better outreach chair, which would be
Abby can't do it. She's cultural affairs, and she's got movies in the park coming up. She's her.
no. You let me speak. There is a person on this call right now that could do much better outreach.
Okay.
The goat puppet, but without the person or entity driving the puppet, just a dead puppet could do a better job than you've done.
You didn't answer the question. Would you like to be outreach chair?
I don't want anything to do with the neighborhood council the way that you fucked it
Okay.
up.
Okay.
So I'm just trying, I'm trying to get rid of people like you that fuck it up and get some good people on there.
And the elections are June 22nd. That'll be your opportunity.
Well, it won't be because there's no outreach because you fucked it up. You
That's
can't
an
even
opinion.
write a press
You're entitled to your
release about-
opinion.
No, it's the truth.
You're entitled to your opinion. Sir.
And I'll put together, I'm going to put together a good video of all this stupid.
Remember, we're limited purpose public
done.
figures. I do have defamation protection, so be careful.
Oh,
We are limited purpose public figures. Ask Goat. That is federal.
well, why don't you sue? Why don't you go ahead?
Don't do
and-
that.
Why don't you go ahead and sue a stakeholder to prove how good you are at outreach?
Do you want to be the outreach chair?
Why don't you do that?
Do you want to be the outreach chair?
I don't want to do that. I'd rather be president. That's where all the power is.
Then run for office.
I might, but I'm
Okay.
certainly.
It's your choice. It's your choice. I'm extending an olive branch to you. You want to do outreach? This is not adversarial. I'm not trying to be confrontational here. If you believe you could do a better job, please, I will step aside. You could do
Oh, I
outreach. I'm
could.
serious about
Great.
this.
You know what I would do? Honestly, I would do outreach, but the problem is some of us don't live here half the time. That's what's pointed out, and I'm not a real stakeholder. That's what you said.
I'm offering it to you, Peter.
But are you going to apologize for what you said?
I'm offering you the outreach chair.
No, let's go back to the apology. Why
No.
don't you apologize?
You're
I'll
sidestepping the topic here.
Why don't you apologize? And I'll consider doing outreach.
Would you like to be outreach chair?
Would you like to apologize to a stakeholder that you disparaged?
I have
As
no idea what you're talking about.
I'll send you some videos. This is great
Send me
stuff.
anything you like.
This is great because now I've got more election fodder. If you
It's okay.
if you
It's okay.
figure that you're going to run for the election, this is great.
You could do whatever you want. It's your First Amendment right.
It'll be great outreach.
It's okay. Everything's fine.
So I'm hoping after this, seriously, Brandon, I hope you step down because you're really doing a disservice to the community.
It's quite all right.
No, it's not quite all right.
I'm okay with this. I'm
You should.
happy. I have a full life. It's okay. I'm doing the best I can. We're volunteers. We do the best we can.
But then
We're
you need
also
to be
human beings.
self-aware and step down because
No,
you're really doing a disservice to the community. All right. Have a good time. Bye.
Okay. Any other comments? Oh, Goat Puppet, I want to hear what you have to say. Go right ahead, Goat. You have a minute.
Yes, exactly. And of course, I would just sit in the chair as the chair and I would go like this. Wow, and yes, and see, that would be a very effective chair, yes. Imagine having people just sitting around and just have puppets. And you can do your own imagination what they're saying.
Mhm.
But of course, I learned how to talk. Yes, they taught you. Yes. In a lab, they taught me how to talk. Yes.
Okay.
So I think it's good. Yes. All you have to do, Brandon, is just apologize. That's all it takes. And then all of a sudden, all of these nice things will happen, like video communication expert. Yes. Have you seen some of his videos? My God, thousands of dollars of free work. And Brandon just has to say, I'm sorry. And it could all be ours. What do you say, Scott? Get him to apologize. You know he wants to. He does. Like Jose Huizar wants to apologize. Yes. And I'm waiting for his apology. But I'll take the 13 years behind bars for him instead.
Thank you very much, Goat. Any other members who would like to speak about the election outreach? The flyers I showed? Nobody? Okay. Then discussion for 5 is over. We will go to 6. Public comments on non-agenda items within the committee's jurisdiction. Let me read this. If accessing the meeting by phone, please use *9 to raise hand or *6 to unmute. You'll have 1 minute apiece. Beginning with Goat Puppet. Go right ahead, Goat. Goat, unmute. You have a minute. There you go. Go right ahead, sir.
Punch the button. No, don't hit me. I got it. Better. Yes. So, what did we learn tonight? This is the kind of things that will bring outreach. Yes, imagine when people watch this drama. They'll want to be a part of this. Yes. Yes. And this is not performance art. It comes from the heart. And remember, the city council meeting is tomorrow. It's still virtual. And the last 2 times, I have managed to get in and speak my 4 minutes apiece. Oh, yes, as I bring encouragement and happiness to the new council members. Haven't I been doing a good job encouraging them? You've been very nice to everybody. That's right. And I'm encouraging Kevin De Leon that he should sue the city for workplace retaliation and hostility. Did you know, Scott, that they tried to force the man to resign when he has a legal right to work in this country? That's your funny Paul Krikorian. And finally, look up his bar license. It appears Mr. Krikorian still has not paid his fees and taken his MCLE requirements. He's the biggest loser ever. And that's why we have Nithya Raman. Because he gave up Studio City. Yes, he abandoned ship. But we'll be here. We will be here to see the day when democracy returns to Studio City and Encino. Boy, that's lovely. Yes. And finally, Mike Fuhrer has declared his candidacy for the United States Congress. I'll have a lot to say about that, won't I? Especially the search warrant that he got in 2019. Yum, 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 yum. Good luck, Mike. Good luck.
Thank you, Goat.
You're gonna make George Santos look like a Boy Scout.
Thank you very much, Goat. Any other public comments on non-agenda items relevant to the Outreach Committee? No? Okay, we will end number 6 and we will go to, I put number 9 and 10 here. It shouldn't have been. It should have been number 7 and number 8. My error. Discussions of possible, what's that all about? No wine here. I just screwed up. Discussion of possible future agenda items for outreach consideration. Committee members, any ideas about what we can do? Obviously, election's going to be the bulk of what we're going to be doing over the next couple of months because it's the most important thing. Terry, go right ahead. You can unmute.
Yep, there.
Go ahead.
At our last meeting, I said that I would look into banner prices, and we just talked about how trying to get them up would be not possible before the election. But they go anywhere from $59 up to $211. A banner, American flag and banner does them, and everybody does them. And the average price for good ones is about $90. So I just wanted to mention that, that was what I found out. But it might be worth having an ongoing awareness with banners, So if we get some printed up that can be used year after year, and we do put in a request to the city to post them, then perhaps we can have like just a neighborhood council, something to just keep awareness through the whole year. So that was
Good
my
idea. Something to look into. Okay. Oh man. Goat, this is Christmas morning for you. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, and let's get the number for those runners. See, over in CD3, we have runners that put those advertisements on the houses. And I brought one of them with us here. Go ahead, Jose, talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to show my face, but I get paid to put those ads in people's doorsteps. And then we go back in a couple of days to see if anybody removed them off of the front doorstep.
And why do you do that?
Oh, that's because we want to see if people aren't home. So if it's been a couple of days, we put another one on there with a business card.
Yes.
And then if they don't show up, then we know the house isn't being watched. And then I text the gang members, and then they go and they do the forcible break-in.
And there you go. That's another reason to make sure to always pick up your mail and always pick up those things and save them that they're putting on your front doorstep. Tell them what Goat Puppet did.
Yeah, you called a couple of the numbers and you actually busted me.
That's right. Yes, that's right. So remember, they're really doing it, working under minimum wage to case houses. So just be aware of that and make sure that you have nice felons. You don't want to hire bad felons. Bad felons are a problem. This has been a public service message.
Thank you, Goat. Peter, go right ahead.
Yeah, I've decided to call your bluff. I'm going to take the job.
Fantastic. So, would that be, because we did speak before you came on board, that we might have one more virtual meeting on either February 27th or February 28th, right before the March 1st deadline. Obviously, March 1st, we have to go to live meetings, but just before March 1st, we could still have virtual meetings. So if you'd like to start on like February 27th or 28th, both those days I believe are available.
Well,
I'm serious about this.
I'm still
I've been-
waiting for designation. So let me hear that.
Oh, no. I'm not leaving the board. I'm just leaving the outreach committee.
No, that's good. I just want to hear that you've left outreach.
Very well. So this will be an official announcement. I am no longer outreach chair. Peter Cole is outreach chair, if it's okay with Scott Mandel. Scott, are you all right with that?
You can send an email to me or the board if you're leaving outreach.
Very well. I'll do that, and I'll copy Peter Cole on that. And what I'll do is all of the PSDs that I've created, I'll put on Google Drive for everyone to work on. All the stuff I've been working on will go on Google Drive. Scott will have access to that. He can forward that to you if you so choose. If he so chooses, you'll get all the information I've been working on, all the stuff I've been showing everybody so far today. And very well. I'll send the email out tonight. So
Forget to include the apology.
oh, you just pulled a Donald Trump on me. Just that little thing right at the very end. By the way, there's one more thing. I think I can swing that. With that being said, are there any more? Well, Goat, you already spoke. Anybody else?
Ow.
Okay. Then we'll go on to 10. Adjournments, moved by Brandon Marino. Do I have a second for adjournment from this meeting?
I'll second.
Absolutely.
Who said that? Julie. So I'll adjourn the meeting at exactly 8:37. Thank you very much, and I will speak to you guys soon. Take care.